Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we are going to go back to talking food today. We are going to talk about some great options for counter service lunches at Walt Disney World. We like to call them safe bets because, as you know, the only consistent thing about Disney World restaurants is that they're inconsistent. Menus change, chefs change, cast members change, so you never know what you're really going to get. These ones tend to be really good all the time. They tend to offer a lot of opportunity for picky eaters or adventurous eaters, and there's usually decent seating. There's usually indoor air-conditioned seating for most of these, so they kind of offer the full package when it comes to you want a great dining experience all around, not just food, but also the experience. Okay, so let's talk about counter service lunch in Disney World. First up, I'm going to talk about Contempo Café in Disney's Contemporary Resort. This one is one of my favorites. I think the food here is excellent, and the whole experience is fun, especially for the kiddos, because you're eating there on the 4th floor concourse, and you can see those monorails whizzing by while you're having your lunch. Also, the food here tends to be very high-end, so even though it is counter service, you do feel like you're getting a high-end meal for sure. So good options here are usually the flatbreads. They're usually offering various different flatbread options and a couple of specialty seasonal options as well. They usually have an excellent smokehouse burger on the menu with bacon, jam, and onion rings. And there's also a seasonal catch fish sandwich and the classic pepperoni pizza for kiddos. You definitely want to save room for dessert. Contempo always has those amazing cupcakes, which thank goodness they've moved them back into the bakery case. They used to be in the refrigerator section. I don't know why they moved them from the bakery case to the refrigerator section, but they're back in the bakery case. They change out those cupcakes regularly, but they're always good. And then of course they have that great peanut butter pie that I absolutely love. One of my favorites and a must do. Now remember, this is in a resort, and Disney recently has been sort of cracking down on people going to resorts or parking at resorts who aren't staying there, who don't have a reservation. So if you're driving, you may need to park at Magic Kingdom and walk over to Contemporary, but I'm guessing that once the crowds start to leave, people will be able to park at the resorts again. In the meantime though, plan ahead. Next up, we're going to go to Disney Springs to talk about Earl of Sandwich. This is a guest favorite. Everybody seems to love Earl of Sandwich. They have one on both coasts, Disney World and Disneyland. But the one in Disney World is actually the flagship of the restaurant chain. What do people love about this? It's decent value, it's pretty good food, it's consistent, it's relatively quick. Even though it looks like there's a long line in there, it goes very, very quickly. They do a good job with efficiency there. We, of course, love that holiday turkey sandwich, which is now on the menu all the time. Turkey, cranberry sauce, gravy, and stuffing. It's sort of a salty, sweet, tart combination. But there are several sandwiches to choose from, and they're all really good. You can pair those sandwiches with a cup of soup as well, and there's other sides too. So there's plenty here to eat, plenty here for picky eaters and people who want something a little bit more hearty. Desserts here are minimal, but they do have great brownies. I absolutely love their brownies here. And don't forget that you can join their loyalty program and earn points to redeem for free food items. And you also get a free $5 sign-up offer over there at the Earl of Sandwich loyalty program. Next up is Sunshine Seasons in Epcot. The biggest pro of this counter service location in the Land Pavilion at Epcot and Future World is that there's lots of seating, tons of seating, and also a huge variety of food options. There's lots of vegan and vegetarian options and choices for other dietary restrictions too. And while they have things for picky eaters, this is probably one of the counter service locations that I would say has the most option for people with more adventurous palates as well. The Mongolian beef here is often my go-to when I'm in Epcot. And the dessert case here is excellent as well. There's tons of incredible desserts and a few of my unique must-have favorites. I always find myself kind of sneaking into Sunshine Seasons and getting a dessert here because I can't stay away. I love them. There's so many that I love so much, like the rose gold cupcake, that Mickey whoopie pie, strawberry shortcake here is really good, the turtle brownie. Such good options at Sunshine Seasons. Next up, we're going to head to Magic Kingdom to Be Our Guest restaurant. Now, the atmosphere here is enough to warrant a visit, but the food has been great at every meal. For lunch specifically, now, you guys know that I think that breakfast is completely overpriced and not worth the money. Dinner is okay, but now that it's 2 table service credits and extremely expensive, it's gotten to be a little bit outside the realm of me saying, okay, that's a good value or that it's worth it. So lunch is your best bet here at Be Our Guest, because not only do you get to get into the restaurant and see all of the dining rooms, because sometimes at dinner they close off the Rose Gallery and you don't get to see it. At lunch you can see all the dining rooms, but also the food here is really good and it's a decent value. So for me, lunch is the no-brainer when it comes to Be Our Guest. but you do need to make a reservation even though it is a counter service location. The braised pork is an all-time favorite of mine. I always like to get it when I come here, but they also have great sandwiches. They have healthier options like the quinoa or the tuna niçoise salad, and you'll of course definitely want to get that gray stuff for dessert, the Master's Cupcake. It is really, really good. The gray stuff here is actually a cookies and cream panna cotta, and I'm not a big panna cotta fan, but it is whipped and it's actually really good here. So be our guest. Lunch is the no-brainer. I actually really like it. I highly recommend it. So if you want to see Be Our Guest, make sure to make that lunch reservation. All right, we're going to head to a couple of resorts here. We're going to go to Sassagoula Floatworks and Food Factory in Port Orleans French Quarter. Now, many of you might argue with me that this is a safe bet because there are some people I know who have had not great experiences here at Sassagoula. I tend to always have great experiences. Maybe that's because I'm usually ordering the jambalaya, which I think is really good and a really good value for your money. They do have several other sort of New Orleans-based options here. Po' boys, that jambalaya is great, burgers, and several sort of unique items that are unique just here to Sassagoula. And then you can't forget about dessert. The pecan pralines are so yummy. I love those. And then of course the Mickey beignets are made here. So you can get your Mickey beignets. You can get those with a dipping sauce for a SNAP credit. And of course you can get the Mickey beignet sundae as well. And now heading over to Art of Animation to Landscape of Flavors. This one has impressed us from the beginning. My last visits to Landscape of Flavors haven't been awesome, but there's still a lot of potential for this particular dining location. The menu has a lot of good variety. There's a lot of create your own options. There's a surf and turf burger, great Asian options, tandoori chicken, naan bread, and things like that. That's actually really, really good. And of course, there's safer bets like pizzas, burgers, chicken nuggets, and there's a good amount of vegan options as well. So although it's not as innovative as it was in the beginning, they are still a trendsetter when it comes to counter service in Disney World, especially when it comes to food court counter service in Disney World. And while it's a hike to get over to Art of Animation, if you're staying there, you definitely want to open up some time to dine here at Landscape of Flavors. All right, heading over to the Polynesian Village Resort to Captain Cook's. This has been a long-time nostalgic favorite for us, probably because you used to be able to get Dole Whip 24 hours here, because Captain Cook's is a 24-hour location, and they used to have a Dole Whip machine that you could go and make your own Dole Whip for 24 hours a day, and that was awesome. Well, the Dole Whip machine is gone now, but Captain Cook's is still a good choice. The menu is always changing, but some of our favorites that rotate on are the pork nachos. These are really, really good. The Pan Asian noodles and fried rice, a pulled pork sandwich, and then of course their standard fare like burgers and hot dogs. Also, I have to mention here for breakfast that Tonga toast is available. Tonga toast is a big, huge sort of Texas toast piece of French toast filled with bananas and rolled in cinnamon sugar and fried. It's really good. You can get it upstairs on the menu at Contempo Café for breakfast, but it's much cheaper down at Captain Cook's. So again, one of our favorites, excellent choice, and then you're right there near the Magic Kingdom. You can just monorail right over to Magic Kingdom, and you've got those great views on the beach, so Captain Cook's is definitely a safe bet. Okay, now we have a few honorable mentions. These are restaurants that didn't quite hit all of our standards for a safe bet, but they are pretty great and you should definitely know about them if you're planning your counter service. First up, of course, is Chicken Guy. This has quickly become one of my favorite dining locations in Walt Disney World and in Disney Springs. It's so simple. It's just a chicken tender restaurant, and I know you have a bunch of chicken tender restaurants in your hometown as well. This one is excellent though. For some reason, Guy Fieri did a really great job with those chicken tenders. There's 22 sauces to choose from, and I'm a big sauce fan, so I love that I have my options, even though I always just choose the buffalo sauce because it's excellent. They've got great mac and cheese options. Here's a little tip though, be sure to order one of those super melty cheese sides with your mac and cheese because it actually adds a lot of flavor to the mac and cheese. They've got a couple of milkshakes, but the best thing about this location, besides the fact that the food is great, is that it's extremely affordable. The menu is designed so the guests can't really spend more than like $10 to $13 per person, which for counter service in Disney World is pretty low. Now this is an honorable mention because there's really not a lot of seating. There's some outdoor seating, but not a lot of indoor air-conditioned seating, so be prepared for that. Go when it's not going to be busy. Go in those off hours so that you can sit inside. D-Luxe Burger over at Disney Springs is another one that we wanted to mention. They've got great burgers. You can order them to taste. You can order them based on the doneness you prefer, which you can't find at many other counter service restaurants in Walt Disney World. So I love that I can order my burger medium rare. The meat blend for these burgers is really, really good. So these really are some of our best, some of the best counter service burgers you're going to get in Disney World for sure. They've got a lot of seasonal options. They've got a lot of burger varieties, great French fries with lots of dipping sauces that are totally free for you to get as many dipping sauces as you want. And the one thing that sort of keeps us from putting this on the completely safe bets list is that there's really not a huge amount of variety to the menu. So if you don't like burgers, they do have some vegetarian options, they have a chicken option, but if you're not a big burger fan, this probably isn't going to be for you. Next up in Disney Springs as well is the Polite Pig. We definitely wanted to talk about this with you. This is the counter service restaurant from James and Julie Petrakis, who are James Beard award level chefs who are very well known in the Orlando area for the Ravenous Pig and Cask and Larder. This one features high-end stuff like an incredible high-end bourbon program. It definitely feels like table service level food. Now this does mean higher prices, but with the name recognition and quality, it's worth it. And lots of things to recommend on the menu here. But we have found the barbecue to be a little bit dry in my personal experience, and so that's why I'm not headed back there all the time, is because although I'm hearing great things from everybody else, my experience has been that it's been a little on the dry side. It hasn't been as good as I wanted it to be. So it's still likely a safe bet, especially if you're looking for a nicer meal that's still quick service. And this is, by the way, primarily barbecue. So coffee rubbed prime brisket, a butcher board for 2 with pork shoulder, smoked chicken, brisket, and barbecue cheddar sausage, 2 slaws, 2 cornbreads. You get the deal. They're known for their unique side dishes like the barbecue cauliflower and the crispy Brussels sprouts. And don't forget, they also truck in those Gideon's cookies every day. Those Gideon's Bakehouse cookies from that famous bakehouse in Orlando, and those are incredible. Don't forget that Polite Pig does actually have mobile order available. It is not through Disney's My Disney Experience. It is through their own website, so you can mobile order through the Polite Pig website. So the main reasons this isn't on the main safe bets list is that, again, their barbecue to me has been a little bit dry and not excellent, so I need to get back there a few more times to kind of quality control check. But there is a lot of outdoor seating and indoor seating though, so if this is your jam, there's plenty of reasons to visit. Next up, Wolfgang Puck Express, also in Disney Springs. This is another honorable mention. Menu items include soups and salads, sandwiches, pizza, that famous Wolfgang Puck pizza, and of course that rotisserie chicken entree is so good. It's rotisserie chicken and mashed potatoes, excellent. Definitely worth your Disney Dining Plan counter service credit there. This is a great value if you are on the Disney Dining Plan. It's a little expensive if you're not, and the indoor seating is a bit limited, so if you're looking for some AC or cover from the rain, we'd recommend going at an off time. 2 more honorable mentions. We're going to stay in Disney Springs for this one. Cooks of Dublin. We absolutely love Cooks of Dublin. This is, of course, the counter service location for Raglan Road. So it's going to be Irish food. And while the food here is really good, traditional fish and chips, savory pies, burger or hog in a box, pork shoulder with baby potatoes, really, really good stuff, high-end stuff. Again, the guys who run Raglan Road and Cooks of Dublin know what they're doing. You guys, they're amazing. They're on top of it. But the reason why this is not on our safe bets list is because the indoor seating is very, very minimal. There's only a few tables inside, the rest are outside. So in Orlando, if you have a super hot day, a super rainy day, or a super cold day, you're not going to visit. So keep your Cooks of Dublin to off hours and go when it's not too crowded. The next honorable mention here is going to be Flame Tree Barbecue over there in Animal Kingdom. I know you guys love it. Everybody loves Flame Tree Barbecue. For me, the big issue is that A, the barbecue here, it is a barbecue counter service restaurant. The barbecue here can be a little dry and a little overdone. And B, all of the seating is outdoors. So there's going to be no option for indoor air-conditioned seating at Flame Tree. So while the menu is great, again, the menu is a little bit minimal. It's not as varied as you might find at some of the safe bet locations we mentioned first, although there are some wonderful things on this menu that I absolutely love, as you know. So Flame Tree can be great, and if you are in Animal Kingdom, it's a good option for you to choose, especially if it's a day that's not too hot, too rainy, or too cold in there in Orlando. So there are some of our safe bets and some of our honorable mentions for counter service locations in Walt Disney World. We always want you guys to have the best experience ever. I see people waiting in line at Sunset Ranch Market, and I just want to tell them there's so much better stuff. Go someplace else. So that's my sort of job here on DFB, is to not tell you what's good and bad necessarily, but tell you what might be bright and better for you. So as always, please like this video. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel, click that notification button so you know when we put up new videos. This is AJ for Disney Food Vlog, and we'll see you real soon.